Chicago, 1981. A city alive with jazz, neon lights, and something darker lurking beneath. Women were disappearing, not from the outskirts or alleys, but from the heart of the city itself. Police found nothing. No pattern, no motive. Only whispers. That the bodies, when they surfaced, were marked with strange symbols, carved as if part of a ritual. At first, no one believed the idea of the occult. Chicago had seen plenty of crime. But this felt different. Locals spoke of an unseen force, a cult that fed on fear. The press called it urban legend. But one detective said quietly, "Legends don't leave blood on the pavement." And behind it all was a man few suspected. Robin Gecht, a quiet construction worker with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. No one knew that after work, he would gather 3 other men in a candlelit room, and together they would begin something that even hell itself might fear. Gecht's followers called him the Master. He spoke softly about light and darkness, about how God had abandoned them, and only the devil truly listened to Edward Spreitzer, and brothers Andrew and Thomas Kokoralis were lost souls, men searching for purpose, and Gecht offered them one. In a small apartment lit by flickering red bulbs, he opened what he called the ritual room. The walls were covered in torn pages from occult books, sigils painted in animal blood, and a mirror framed in black candles. He told his disciples, "The mirror is the gateway. Offer the body, and the devil will bless the soul." And so, the first offering was made. A young woman vanished near a gas station. A week later, her body was found, mutilated, desecrated, and missing her heart. Police were baffled. But in that apartment, the men celebrated, drinking from silver cups, whispering Gecht's words like prayer. Pain is the path to power. Each killing brought them closer, each ritual darker. And soon, Chicago became their hunting ground. They never chose at random. Gecht claimed he saw a glow around certain women, as if marked for sacrifice. The crew stalked them silently, watching from parked vans under broken streetlights. Then, one by one, they vanished. Victims came from every corner of the city, waitresses, nurses, students. Their bodies told a story no one could bear to read. Deep cuts forming pentagrams, missing limbs, and candle wax dripped over the wounds. The city lived in terror. Women refused to walk alone. And still the murders continued. Witnesses reported seeing a red van with tinted windows, the devil's chariot. Some called it inside. Gecht would perform mock ceremonies, forcing his followers to chant verses from a black-bound book. He told them he was guided by a voice, one that came to him in dreams, a voice that demanded blood. It wasn't just murder, it was worship. By mid-1982, the Chicago Police Department was desperate. More than a dozen women had vanished, and the press painted the city as a playground for Satanists. Detective Larry Gentry received a lead, a surviving victim who escaped a van attack. She described her captor in haunting detail. He had a calm voice. He smiled while cutting me. That led police to Edward Spreitzer, who broke under pressure. His confession chilled the room. He spoke of rituals, candles, blood, and Robin Gecht, the Master. He told them about the mirror, the offerings, and a secret box hidden inside Gecht's attic. When police raided Gecht's home, what they found defied reason. A blood-stained altar, dozens of occult books, women's clothing, and a black Bible open to the Book of Revelation. But the most terrifying find was the box. Inside were small, preserved body parts, trophies from victims, each labeled with a name. Detectives realized they weren't just hunting killers, they were hunting believers. During questioning, Robin Gecht was calm, disturbingly calm. He denied everything, even when confronted with evidence. He said softly, "You can't prove a dream." Psychiatrists called him delusional, obsessed with power and control, but some officers swore strange things happened around him. Lights flickering during interviews, equipment failing, whispers caught on tape. One officer claimed that while standing outside Gecht's cell, he heard chanting, even though Gecht's mouth never moved. When asked why he did it, Gecht replied, "Because the devil gives more than God ever did." Some believed he used the rituals to manipulate his followers. Others thought maybe he truly believed he had made a pact. Either way, the evil was real, and even behind bars that evil lingered, spreading like smoke over the city that still trembled in fear. The courtroom was packed, survivors wept, reporters filled every seat. Prosecutors laid out the horror in detail. Photographs, evidence, and testimonies from the crew, Spritzer and the Cocorales brothers, described Gecht's rituals of darkness. But Gecht showed no remorse, only a quiet, almost satisfied smirk. When asked about the rituals, he said, "It wasn't murder, it was transformation." The jury needed only a few hours. Spritzer and the brothers were sentenced to life or death. Gecht, however, avoided the death penalty due to lack of direct evidence and received a long prison term. Yet many felt something was wrong. He seemed too composed, too untouched. A priest who visited him in prison claimed that during confession, the room temperature dropped, and Gecht whispered, "He's still here with me." To this day, no one knows who he was. After their arrest, Chicago tried to move on. But darkness has a way of leaving stains. Within months, a new series of killings began. Same ritual marks, same style. Was it a copycat? Or something worse? Police never caught anyone. Locals believed the rituals had opened something. A door that couldn't be closed. Strange sightings were reported near the old crime scenes. Red lights in windows, chanting from empty buildings, mirrors shattering for no reason. Even decades later, former officers refused to speak of the case. One detective said, "You can lock men away, but you can't lock evil." And sometimes at night, when the wind howls through the empty alleys of Chicago, some swear they still hear it. The low whisper of a voice saying, "Pain is the path to power." The Chicago Ripper crew left behind 18 confirmed victims and countless unconfirmed. Their crimes were born from madness, but also from belief that darkness could grant immortality. Gecht remains in prison to this day, still denying the murders, still claiming he's forgiven by the higher power. Yet every few years, new interest in the case surfaces, podcasts, documentaries, YouTube videos, all trying to understand what drove ordinary men to unspeakable evil. Some say it was pure insanity. Others believe they summoned something, and that thing never truly left. In the end, perhaps the scariest part isn't what they did, but how easily they hid among us, smiling, working, living, until night fell, and the devil came calling, because evil doesn't always wear horns. Sometimes it wears a human face.